Hello, and welcome to Enough and Evolving podcast. I'm your host, Tiona Vallejo, Master Certified Life Coach and Mindfulness Expert, helping you reclaim confidence, break through unhelpful patterns, and manifest the relationships and life you desire. Now let's get started. Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. If you're joining for the first time, welcome. So glad to have you here. This is episode number 12, and we're talking all about retreats today. Today I want to talk about why I fell in love with retreats, how it completely changed me, and why I now create these experiences for other women. As I'm recording this podcast, I am also preparing to leave, and by the time this airs, I will be over in our next retreat that we're hosting in Azores off of the coast of Portugal. Some beautiful islands that I am just so excited to check out for the first time, as well as join this amazing group of women that have said yes to going on this epic adventure with us. So, without further ado, let's dive into our topic today about retreats. Now, the first retreat that I ever went to was back in maybe 2014. I can't really remember the exact year, but I was going into an advanced yoga teacher training, taking various modules of yoga studies, the anatomy, that were in different locations around the world. I know, hard, right? So my first location was in Napa, where we studied the shoulder, and we really got to dive into daily yoga. It was at a beautiful ranch up in Napa. We weren't just wine tasting and all of that. It was actually something that was so out of my normal routine. It was something that was so deeply transformative to me, because not only was I by myself in this place where I didn't know anyone, but I was surrounded by other yogis, other people that loved yoga as much as I did, and other people that were in that healthy lifestyle that I was starting to embark on. And so it felt like I was completely in this community of like-minded people that really inspired me. And it inspired me to hear their stories and what they were doing in the world. And so fast forward, I ended up traveling to Bali, Thailand, Indonesia, Costa Rica, Portland, studying all sorts of things having to do with yoga, the hip, the spine, shoulder, meditation, restorative yoga, the nervous system fascia, you name it. It was amazing. I went through a training with Tiffany Cruikshank, yoga medicine, and it was phenomenal. I really just learned so much about the body, about mechanics, about deep understanding of how we can effectively connect with ourselves, our body, but also share this wonderful gift that yoga offers us with our communities. So every time I would go, I would bring back so many of these fun, new kind of wisdoms, these new parts of my practice to my teachings, to my clients and the classes that I was teaching at the time. And it was really amazing, such a gift to be able to do. So of course, the experience felt very expansive, and it was definitely in line with one of my core values, which is adventure. Adventure, and another one of my core values, connection. It was incredible being able to be around these like-minded women, to really feel like I was connected to something bigger than myself. And that retreat definitely opened doors for me that I didn't even realize existed. Each trip, I feel like I was learning more about myself and tapping into a new version of myself. I really do believe that that is the gift of travel, is that when you go and you travel somewhere outside of your tiny community, that it really can expand your mind, and it can allow you to not only expand your worldview, but really start to learn things about yourself that you weren't able to see when you're just in your small community. Every place I went didn't just expand my passport, it actually expanded who I believed I could be. Now, maybe you are someone who loves to travel and you resonate with, that feeling of expansion that you get when you travel. And when you do it in these retreats, that is just such another level of really nourishing your mind, your body, and your soul. And there are 4 pillars that I believe make retreats so powerful. One is, of course, the environment. It shifts everything. When you are in a new place surrounded by like-minded women or people, you think differently. And the conversations that you have, the validation and growth that is available to you is next level. Number 2 is definitely the proximity to those like-minded women. And I remember listening to a podcast on what it was, a Mel Robbins podcast, and where she had a guest on that was a friendship expert. And I remember them speaking about how proximity is one of the key components to cultivating rich connections, creating those deep friendships. And I truly believe that, because while we're in that experience, even though it's just for maybe a week at a time, while you're in that experience, you are in such a close proximity that something happens that really allows you to knit this deep, deep connection that is unforgettable. There are connections that I've made with some of these women that I will never forget, and lots of them I still am in contact with. So it is deeply transformative and special to you. And then the third one is intentional living. When you go on vacation and you're just going because you're like, I'm just going to relax and I'm going to the beach, and maybe you plan some sightseeing and drop in here and drop in there with your family, that's wonderful. But this type of retreat travel is very different. This intentional living, this is one of the things that I think really struck me by, like, having this planned movement, daily planned movement, usually twice a day at least, plus these nourishing meals that were really created to support us, and then the opportunities to learn deeper, to grow, and to connect with yourself spiritually, which brings me to number 4, having the space to hear yourself. So often when we're at home or when we're on these vacations with our families, it's hard to really connect with yourself. When you are away from those roles that you play day in, day out, you're away from the noise, you're away from the responsibilities that are constantly weighing on you, and you're just able to get quiet with yourself. This is the biggest gift that you can ever experience and ever give to yourself. this really creates that intimate relationship with yourself. And this is why transformation is so fast on retreats. Your nervous system finally has the space to feel safe, open, and receive. Now, I know what some of you were probably saying is like, oh, that must be nice to do that. I can't do that because I have, my kids and blah, blah, blah. Well, let me share with you. When I first started going on these retreats, I had littles, and I think my son was probably maybe 6, 7, something like that. Yeah, 6, 7, 6, 7. And my daughter was about 12 or a little bit older. And I would go on these retreats for about 2 weeks at a time. And I remember the first time I was leaving, and I was, first of all, going international by myself for the first time. And it felt really, number one, intimidating to travel solo as a woman. And second, to leave my kids for that long. So there were all these fears that were coming up around the fear of not only going by myself, but the fear of being judged as a bad mom, leaving the kids behind. And I had so much internal conflict that I actually was thinking about backing out. I remember that. My brain was just like trying to figure out how we can arrange this, because I'd already put my deposit in, and it was like I was spinning and I don't think I could do this. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you about mom guilt that's really interesting. And this was a really good lesson for me in this, is that when you are afraid of what people think of you, it's usually because a part of you believes that it may be true. So if I was worrying that I was a bad mom, then there must have been a part of me that felt like I was a bad mom, right? Or that that would have made me a bad mom. There's this analogy that one of my coaches, Brooke Castillo, used to give. She was the founder of the life coach school where I was trained. And she used to talk about blue hair. That if someone were to criticize you for having blue hair, but you didn't have blue hair, you would be like, okay, like thinking they're crazy, right? If they're coming to you and saying, oh, I don't like your blue hair doesn't look good on you, then you'd be like, whatever, But if you felt like, uh-oh, I have blue hair, and they're saying my blue hair isn't nice, they're criticizing my blue hair, you might feel a little insecure about that. Motherhood is something that I deeply value, and I'm assuming you all do too, my listeners here. And I wanted to be a good mom. And so, of course, the fear was coming on really strong that if I do this could make me potentially a bad mom. But I had to really sit with that and think, how is this really harmful? And it really wasn't. Actually, it was the opposite, right? It was the opposite, because I realized what a quote unquote good mom meant to me. I had to define what a good mom was for me. And that looked like, first of all, being a mom that's not just present 100% of the time, but a mom that was modeling a life of expansion, courage, and self-honor. So I knew in order to do that, I needed to go on this trip. I didn't want my kids to diminish themselves and their passions, their desires, just because of a role that they play as a parent or a responsibility that they have to show up as a parent. I didn't want them to see that as a reason to diminish their true passions. And I decided I wasn't going to show my kids that they needed to perform what was expected, but instead that I was going to show them to live a life that steps into what's possible for them, which actually brings me to the best story of all, which is I truly believe that it was deeply impactful in a positive way for both of my kids, especially my daughter, who actually reminded me not too long ago of a funny story where she was getting her hair cut and the mom shared with her that she had never been away from her kids and they were already in college. It was like the first time she'd ever left. And daughter, she was shocked. She couldn't understand it at all. And she came to me and she's like, I don't understand, Mom, why it was such a big deal that she couldn't leave. I just feel like it was so normal when you left. So I normalized that it was okay for a mom to go and take care of herself, take care of her passions, take care of her career, go and fill her own cup, which is so empowering to me to hear and so empowering for her as she moves into this next stage of possibly having children of her own someday. And I love, love, love that it really did ignite this passion of travel for her because she just got back from studying abroad in Florence, Italy for a semester. And that was such a beautiful dream that she had for many years. And she did it. She did it all on her own. And I was so, so, so proud of her for going for it and following her heart. So from all of this, I realized I didn't lose anything by choosing myself. I actually expanded what was available to my children as well. And I hope that this inspires you to also get out of any of that mom guilt that you might be having around possibly stepping into following those passions or going on a special retreat that you might be inspired to check out. Now, I am so blessed that I get to co-host these retreats with Empower, Johanna Bradley, and it's so much fun. Bringing these experiences to other people is so rewarding. I love, love, love watching their transformations firsthand and knowing what's possible when we step into these adventures and just watching these women really expand their thinking and create these wonderful connections with one another and these deep, deep, loving connections with themselves. If you've been craving space, connection, clarity, it might not be something you need to figure out at home. It might be something you experience when you step away. And so in closing, I would absolutely love to invite you on one of our next retreats. We do have a very special local retreat coming up this October. It's in Joshua Tree, and this is going to be a wonderful little mini retreat, kind of getting your feet wet. So if you're wondering what this could be like, this is a wonderful intro to checking out retreats. You can find the link in my bio on Instagram, and I'll also put a link in the show notes here that you can check it out. And again, we will have more retreats coming up. Just remember that travel expands you. Connection heals you, and giving yourself permission to step away might be the very thing that brings you closer to yourself. So again, if this is speaking to you, I would love for you to join us on one of our next retreats. Follow that nudge, and I look forward to sharing more. Have a wonderful week. Remember, you are enough, and you are always evolving. If you're listening to this and you're recognizing yourself in these patterns, this is exactly the work I do inside my coaching. This isn't something you have to figure out alone. If you're ready to feel more confident, grounded, and self-trusting, I'd love to support you. Check out the show notes to book a consultation coaching call today.